Greetings everyone, Ed Pugh here with Reaper Miniatures. Welcome to our 2021 product showcase. First, I want to tell you, I'm really missing seeing everybody face to face. I really enjoy the Gamma show, but we will get to do that next year. So, what we're going to discuss here is stuff that actually released last year. We call those soft releases because they didn't go through the actual distribution system. At the time, between one being closed and various things going on, we'd talked about them, we had them on a schedule, it's sort of they got close to the time, and we just said, hey, what we have, we'll go with. And it was really designed at that time to help keep people's spirits up. So, with that said, what we have is, we call those soft releases. Then we have new releases for this year, and some existing product that if you don't already have in your store, you should consider picking up. So with that said, we're going to start. And one of the first items we're going to talk about, which if you were at Gamma last year, you saw, was our Pizza Dungeon dice. So this was a soft release. We just went ahead and shoved it on out the door, actually very late past its original scheduled time, because we just had everybody constantly asking for them. So here's the display unit, countertop, if you chose to do that, and you'll get 18 sets, one of each color. Now, inside of the sets is, you'll see here, they'll stack, they screw on. These were features we had then. There's the little black bag, and it contains one of our high roller models in a translucent color. The color's random. Yes, the color is random, as well as the model's random in the black box, or in the black bag. So, this is how that they work. Now, when they open them, what they'll get, and if we get a close-up for this, and yeah. So, as you can see, here's our high roller. Here's the actual dice. These stack, they go. That is the Pizza Dungeon dice. We have sold quite substantially a lot of these. We do have a restock coming in, so we don't anticipate a supply interruption. We're in the second batch. We're just going to continue the first batch. And then later on down the line, the plan is there'll actually be a newer release that has updates on the figures, what we're doing, changing, new colors, things like that, to sort of help keep the whole thing running and fun. So it's definitely something that if you haven't got them, try them out, give some in, whichever, and they are in your sampler bag. There's a set in there so you can show them to your customers and see if it's something they would be interested in. So, the next thing we're going to talk about is the Reaper Keeper. This is a new item for this year. It was actually scheduled for last year, but due to all sorts of last year things, it just didn't show up until about a month ago. So we're going to be putting these on the schedule and going. Now, what a Reaper Keeper is simply a transport tote for gaming miniatures, paint, or books, whatever. You know your customer, you know what I'm talking about. So what it has is a front pouch here that opens up to allow you to, whatever you want to store there. It has the main compartment, which is designed to hold two of our cases, one right after the other. So if they've already got cases, you can stock these without anything, and they can put their own cases or stuff, whatever they want to do. You can also stock them with the items. These cases, and any option. Really, it's however you want to do it. We'll have them solicited and listed, and you'll be able to go accordingly with that. I don't have a date on this. In fact, we're not even going to talk about dates on any of this stuff. This is just really to explain it all to you and show it to you, and so that you have a reference point. But that's the Reaper Keeper. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is something that's already an existing product that if you don't have in your store, you should seriously consider having, and that is the Learn to Paint kits. They're very popular. We will have it over. I'll put it over here and talk about it from over here. So each set comes with the models that they're going to be painting. There's a set of brushes back here in this right here, as well as there is the paints that they will use, and including the book itself. It's fully illustrated. It's supported by, it could be countless number of YouTube videos people have made, as well as we've got up there. So it's a real easy way for your customer to get into the idea of, if they like the figures, they want to paint them and do something more than just pull them out and put them on the table. So that's the Learn to Paint kits. There's two of them, 1 and 2. Now, another option that's really good, and is always there, depending on your space in your store, is just the paint sets. We have the paint table, we have various racking options or paint options, things like that. This is just a real quick way to be able to get it in there, say you've got the line, the customers go, and they get the case. So the next thing we're going to go on is the airbrush. During this last year, we released soft release, the 2 airbrushes. Supply issues kept us from being able to do all of the stuff that was involved to go with it until recently. So now that we've got that, we're going, there'll actually be a full-blown release this year. We'll call it the second grand opening, for lack of a better descriptive. What we're going to be supporting it with is a compressor, with the brushes itself, and with all sorts of various accessory items. Obviously hoses with dryers, quick connects, all sorts of stuff. We'll be able to have this all out, and you'll be able to satisfy your customer and get whatever they want. Now, what makes this, I'm going to talk about the brush for a second. What makes the brush unique in this particular case is, in fact, we'll go over here and we'll talk about it on this. So, my backdrop's not all that great. So what happens is, or what they're going to get is this faux leather case, which allows them to carry both the brush as well as their rods. And that's what what is unique here are the rods themselves, the needles, excuse me. Needles is what they're called. So to change your particular pattern from a fine to a medium, you simply just have to change the rod out. And that's as easy as loosening that, pull it out, slide the next rod back in, and then tighten it up, and then you go, and you're instantly changed. This is allowed because it's using a concave tip a convex tip as opposed to a concave tip. And so in turn, this is where it got its name, is the Vex, from its convex tip. So these have been really popular. We're going to be keeping this is obviously a big in stock. And okay, missing a clip. So anyway, that is this particular item, the airbrushes. Very excited about that. We'll have more of a hard official release for that later on this year. So back over to here, one of the items, another item that came out and more of a soft release is we actually did our first full 4-color hardback book to push out to the public, something we'd never done. It's painted figures. It's The Art and History Through Miniature Figurines by Doug Cohen. Doug Cohen is a world premier painter. This actually catalogs his career throughout the whole 30 years. So what you'll have in here, let me find I had a place stuck out, is he's actually going through not only, this is the historical side of this, and in this particular period here where he's painting colonial, he also he has all of the various historical sides as well as there's a sci-fi and his fantasy work, things like that. The book is just amazing. It's 350 pages, full 4-color. It's got a great price on it. So this will be something that will be coming out with an official release later this year as well. Now, an item that's already out, and again, if you don't have them, you should try getting them in your stores. They should sell well, are the box sets. Now, these are all Bones 1 classic style, that material, but they're easy to assemble, they're affordable, they're great, they're easy to display. So this is something you should consider having if you don't already. Now, the next thing we're talking about is the paint line. We've made changes to it. As I said, if you don't already know, we canceled the HD line. We're getting things more manageable with it and getting its display and presentation up to snuff. One of the features that we've added this year, and we had some minor iterations of it last year until we could work it out and refine it, are the fast palettes, as we call it. They're themed color sets. They cover various things. Fire and Brimstone happens to be that one. We have The Flesh of the Damned. We have Heavy Anvil Metal, the Cyber Gangs. So there's various colors. So depending on your store, your merchandising, these might be a very good fit for you. We also have a new label that's being migrated onto the bottles themselves as time goes on. We will eventually be totally over here. It fixes a lot of the problems, your scanning, the presentation, things like that. I'll put one down there later on, or in a minute, you can get a close-up. And of course, we still have all our brushes, our Taklon and our Sable brushes. Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about is this display unit. This is a mock-up we made here. As you can see, it's got a lot of different things on it. We're going to be using this footprint or this idea to start focusing on various product lines. This allows you to turn around and pick, okay, well, I have a space for this, and this is what I want to go with, and you can get that. We'll also do sort of a general one just to offer for somebody that just says, look, just give me a smattering of. The first one that's going to come down the line is one that's going to focus on Bones USA and Bones Black models almost exclusively. This is just to be able to get those lines out in your store and give you an option there for the display of those. Now, we get a lot of questions. Everybody's nowadays, Bones this, Bones that. What are the differences? So we have Bones Classic, we have Bones Black, and we have Bones USA. Bones Classic is what we started with in 2012. The biggest complaint we got was, bendy swords and things like that. While they're still a great affordable figure, they sell very well. We address that. That's what we do. So our next improvement on that was what we call Bones Black. Now, Bones Black added an element of rigidity to everything, and people really like that as we solved all those problems and priming issues and a few others. But the fidelity was still not, of the figurine, was still not what we really wanted it to be. So we continued to look and continue to explore, and that's what led us to Bones USA. Now, Bones USA it gets its name, obviously it's made here at the factory. However, it uses a entirely different technology that comes out of the jewelry industry. So it allows us to be able to create these models, get them, and it's a heated thermal injected plastic, just like the other material, except the prime and everything else. But the rigidity is acceptable, the durability is very acceptable, and the fidelity is just off the chart. So that's really a big improvement, and that is something you'll see now. We're just sort of creeping them out there a little bit, or they're creeping out there through various little promotions and things we've done, just to get them in the consumer's hands and get last feedback, sort of a beta test, as we might call it. And we've made some adjustments from that in basing and things like that. So we're trying to dial it in to make sure we hit as big of a hole as we can. So anyway, I'm going to go down here, and what we're going to discuss is the big Reaper box we always ship every year that you'll get for attending enough of these seminars to check off, turn in your paperwork. So this year, what we've got, and I'm going to do this just sort of quick and let you see it as we're going along. It's like an unboxing. You're going to have the basic paperwork that you'd need. You'll have a flyer here that gives you a description of what's in here, pricing, things of this nature, so that you can price these items, put them on your shelf, see how well they sell. First off, you'll be getting a dungeon dice. You'll be getting regular Bones Classic models. Let's see. You're going to get an obsidian crypt, which is a styrene crypt. It's very easy to assemble. Let me get this out of the way and get down in here. Let's see. You'll be getting Bones USA models in here. I don't know how many of each we'll go through, but you'll see it's a nude blister card. Then you'll be getting a Bones Black model. Get that to stand right there. You'll be getting Pathfinder. You'll be getting, even more Bones USA, as well as more Bones Black. You'll get some Base Boss, and we have new models. We'll have a new release for that this year of Base Boss with bases that we didn't cover the first release. So that's coming out. Then you'll also have, in the paint side, a random, I don't know which one, there won't always be, in this particular case, Flesh of the Damned, a fast palette, again, so that you can get feedback from your customers. You'll also be getting a Pathfinder Bones paint triad. Now, this isn't an actual real product. This is just so that we could find your painter in your store, whatever you want to do, the Pathfinder paints. They can sample them and play with them. You can sell it as a triad, but it's not an actual SKU item. We're just putting it so that you'll be able to get it. And then you'll also be getting a Learn to Paint kit in there, which will obviously take care of that so that you can see how well it is. But one of the most important, highly requested items, let me get some room here real quick. Okay, now what we've got is an actual paint and take for your store is inside of here. We get requests for these all the time and all of this. So we decided this year we're going to put one in. So what this is going to include, and I'm just going to start getting it out, is 6 packs. There's 18 bottles of paint that will come with it. So you'll get 3 6-packs of paint. You'll get various instructions on how to possibly run it, instructions on how to run it, some information. Then you're also going to get feedback. These are things that you can just leave on the table to help give them instructions or help them understand as they're going. Some signage that you'll be able to do, and then a couple of fold-up center placards. Excuse me, that's backwards. But they'll fold into a triangle. Then you'll also get the placemats for each station. So this also gives them the instructions on the placemat to follow. This happens to be the skeleton, but the instructions are pretty basic. They'll cover the technique for any figure. And then you're going to get a whole bunch of models. And that is a paint and take. So that's going to be a real big an item in there, and hopefully you'll have fun with that. But real quickly, I'm going to run back down here and then get those bottles, a couple of those, with this new label, just so you can see that before we wrap this up. And I'll get them right here. That's a front, and there's a back. And these are just, they're pre-printed, and it's just a nice step up. You know, we've been using those thermal labels for years, and they bring all sorts of problems to the table that we believe this is now going to solve. So, in conclusion, that covers this part of our 2021 product showcase. Now, when this is over, it's my understanding, and we all know how technology works, that will be available. It'll be myself and others will be available for face-to-face or question and answer after this in this room or in a room. So that part I'm not sure about yet. But after you've watched this, and I want to thank you for watching this, we're available to ask any questions, just like it's just like if we were face-to-face without being face-to-face. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I'm glad if you've watched this long, I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed anything. And as always, stay safe. And if you have any questions that weren't covered in the face-to-face or here or whatever, you can email myself, ed@reapermini.com. And I will process through get whatever information you need. So without that's about wraps it up. I wish I always end with saying, any questions, any questions? Well, I don't have that audience today. So I hope you enjoy it. We will see you later, and just stay safe. Thank you very much.